Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Aninda Maulina with student ID number 2014050055. I'm a student from State Islamic University Imam Bonjol Padang with a major English Tadris Department Faculty of Tarbiyah and Teacher Training. Here, I will explain to you about the material Direct Strategies for Dealing with Language, Part 1. And I made this video as a final semester assignment for the Language Learning Strategies course in this third semester. The first discussion I will discuss about what is direct strategies. Here is an explanation of direct strategies. Direct strategies they are strategies that involve directly the target language. Direct strategies require mental processing of the language. These strategies include memory, cognitive, and compensation strategies. The direct strategies are beneficial to the students because they help store and recover information. These strategies help learners to produce language even when there is gap in knowledge. They also help to understand and use the new language. All direct strategies require mental processing of the language, but the three groups of direct strategies, memory, cognitive, and compensation, do this processing differently and for different purposes. Alright, then in the second discussion, I will discuss about taxonomy of direct strategies for dealing with language. Number 1, memory strategies. Memory strategies have been used for thousands of years and they have a highly specific function, helping students store and retrieve new information. They also reflect very simple principles such as arranging things in order, making associations, and reviewing. These principles all involve meaning. Memory strategies fall into 4 sets: creating mental linkages, applying image and sounds, reviewing well, and employing action. Creating mental linkages. This strategy set has one strategy directed towards the speaking skill, placing new words into a context. This strategy has to do with placing a word or phrase in a meaningful sentence, conversation, or story in order to remember it. In this set are 3 strategies that form the cornerstone for the rest of the memory strategies is grouping, associating or elaborating, and placing new words into a context. B. Applying image and sounds. This strategy set has one strategy directed toward the speaking skill, representing sounds in memory. This strategy has to do with remembering new language information according to its sounds. Learners may make auditory representations of sounds like linking a new word with familiar words or sounds from any language through the use of sense or nonsense rhymes. 4 strategies are included here is using imagery, semantic mapping, using keywords, and representing sounds in memory. These all involve remembering by means of visual, image, or sounds. C. Reviewing well. Structure reviewing. Reviewing in carefully spaced intervals, at first close together, and then more widely spaced apart. This strategy might start, for example, with a review 10 minutes after the initial learning, then 20 minutes later, an hour or 2 later, a day later, 2 days later, a week later, and go on. This is sometimes called spiraling because the learner keeps spiraling back to what has already been learned at the same time that he or she is learning new information. The goal is overlearning, that is being so familiar with the information that it becomes natural and automatic. D is employing action. These strategies will appeal to learners who enjoy the kinesthetic or tactile modes of learning, is using physical response and using mechanical techniques. Number 2, cognitive strategies. Cognitive strategies are essential in learning a new language. Such strategies are a varied lot, ranging from repeating to analyzing expressions to summarizing. With all their variety, cognitive strategies are unified by a command function, manipulation, or transformation of the target language by the learner. Cognitive strategies are typically found to be the most popular strategies with language learners. Cognitive strategies enable learners to understand and produce new language by many different means. Following are the definitions of important cognitive strategies. A. Practicing. Of the 5 practicing strategies, probably the most significant one is practicing naturalistically. Number one is repeating. Number 2 is formally practicing with sounds and writing systems. Number 3 is recognizing and using formulas and patterns. Number 4, recombining. And number 5 is practicing naturalistically. B. Receiving and sending message. 2 strategies for receiving and sending message are getting the idea quickly and using research for receiving and sending message. The former use two specific techniques and extracting ideas, while the latter involves using a variety of resources for understanding or producing meanings. C is analyzing and reasoning. This set of 5 strategies concern logical analysis and reasoning as applied to various target language skills. Often, learners can use these strategies to understand the meaning of a new expression or to create a new expression. And number 1 is reasoning deductively. Number 2 is analyzing expressions. Number 3 is analyzing contrastively. Number 4, translating. And number 5 is transferring. And D is creating structure for input and output. The following 3 strategies are ways to create structure, which is necessary for both comprehension and production in the new language. And number 1 is taking notes. Number 2 is summarizing, and number 3 is highlighting. 3 compensation strategies. Compensation strategies enable learners to use the new language for either comprehension or production despite limitations in knowledge. Compensation strategies are intended to make up for an inadequate repertoire or grammar and especially of vocabulary. 10 compensation strategies exist clustered into 2 sets: guessing intelligently in listening and reading, and overcoming limitations in speaking and writing. Guessing intelligently and in listening and reading. The 2 strategies which contribute to guessing intelligently refer to different kinds of clues is using linguistic clues and using other clues. B. Overcoming limitations in speaking and writing. 8 strategies are used for overcoming limitations in speaking and writing. Some of these are dedicated solely to speaking, but some can be used for writing as well. And number 1 is switching to the mother tongue. Number 2 is getting help. Number 3 is using meme or gesture. Number 4 is avoiding communication partially or totally. Number 5 is selecting the topic. Number 6, adjusting or approximating the message. Number 7 is coining words. And number 8 is using a circumlocution or synonym. And here we enter the last discussion that discuss about examples of direct strategies for dealing with language. As discussed in the second discussion about the 3 strategies and what sets are used along with the examples that have been discussed, it is necessary to clarify and mention a few more examples used in these 3 strategies so that we can do it too. Memory strategies such as grouping or using imagery have a highly specific function, helping students store and retrieve new information. Cognitive strategies such as summarizing or reasoning deductively enable learners to understand and produce new language by many different means. Compensation strategies like guessing or using synonyms allow learners to use the language despite their often large gaps in knowledge. Okay, maybe that's all I can explain about this material. If there are mistakes in my pronunciation and speaking, I apologize, and I will try to keep trying to study well. Thank you for your attention, everyone. Have a good day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.